to this week's episode of Making the Call. I'm joined by Trent, and we're going to be holding down the fort. Just Trent and I kind of throw back to old times when we first started making the call in its first iteration, all the way back in college, in our little two-bedroom apartment in Abilene, Texas. Um, so we'll be breaking down all the action from NFL Week 4, run through all the games. We may or may not discuss a certain team in the North that's still undefeated. I don't know. We'll see. As well as all the other main takeaways from what I still like to consider the quarterway point of the NFL season. I know it's technically not with the 17 game, but even still. First, we'll start with one big headline. So, Trent, what you got for us this week?
Hockey starts this weekend. The first regular season game over in Prague, Czech Republic. I think they just call themselves Czechia now or something. But over in Prague, the NHL season drops the puck, and the next week stateside is when it starts. So
Wow.
pretty excited. All the teams are narrowing down their rosters in camp and getting ready to go.
Did you say, wait, who are the teams that are playing over in Prague? You don't know?
Buffalo and New Jersey.
Buffalo, New Jersey. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Do they typically do it's preseason, right?
No, this will be the real deal.
Oh,
They've always done preseason games international, but they recently started like launching the season internationally, like in Europe, and like the Stars are going to Finland in November.
wow.
Because they have the Finnish Mafia, so they're going to play 2 games against the Panthers in Finland. So that'll be exciting.
Know that, huh?
Yeah, I thought about going. The tickets to the hockey game were starting at $500, and I was just like,
Oh
like
my
the
gosh.
flights to Finland aren't that bad. Like for Europe, like I feel like $750. That's not bad.
Yeah. Oh, are they playing? It looks like, are they playing 2 games over in Prague? Like Buffalo and New Jersey are playing back to back?
Yeah, I don't know if they're both in Prague, but they're both in Europe.
Okay, yeah, both in Europe. Because, yeah, one's
One of
at
them,
12 p.m.
I think-
Central, one's at 9 a.m.
Well, I think Buffalo played like a German team for preseason game. It's kind of cool, I guess.
Huh. Yeah, they're both in Prague. Both, yeah. Huh. Okay. I did not know that. Huh. I did not know that. That's interesting. Cool. How do you feel about the Stars?
I'm feeling pretty good. Their division is definitely tougher, but I think they got better. So
Okay.
long season, but I'm fairly confident we'll get back to the playoffs. And once you're in, anything can happen.
Yeah. I feel like more so in hockey than some of the other sports.
Yep.
It is truly
For
just
sure.
the tournament. Yeah. Okay. Um all right, my one big headline. I've got a few that we can rattle off. First one is I started rewatching Band of Brothers over the weekend. I'm not done with it. I'm like, I think 6 episodes through, and there's 10 episodes in total. The show is just perfect. Like,
Yeah.
I first watched it in college because you learned that I had never seen it, and you're like, all right, I'm giving you a deadline. You have I forget what you said, but you were like, you've got a month to watch it, like, or else. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I watched it, and I was like, okay, I'm glad you forced me to do this because the show is just incredible. And this is my first time rewatching it since watching it for the very first time, 5-6 years ago, however long ago it was. And it got me thinking, because like there's some shows or some movies that I'll try to rewatch like at least every year, or maybe like every other year. Like every other year, I want to do like Lord of the Rings rewatch. Every now and then I want to do a Harry Potter rewatch, but I don't know. This is kind of a question I want to, ask to you. Like, what are those things for you? What are the things that you're like, oh, I need to be revisiting that every so often just because it's fun and it's nostalgic or whatever. And it's just like, yeah.
Band of Brothers definitely is up there. I like the Star Trek movies with Chris Pine.
Those are good. Those are good.
I check into those every once in a while. And then, the Harry Potters, and I'll watch like a couple Star Wars movies a year. I won't ever go all the way through because they're takes too
It
long.
takes a
and they're
long time.
Not that great.
Yeah.
Harry Potter. I'll haul off and go watch seasons 10 through 15 of Family Guy. I'm pretty good
Okay.
at that. And Archer.
Oh, you love Archer.
Archer's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I want to kind of make at least a list for myself of like, hey, here are the things that you need to be revisiting like every few years, and I'm putting Band of Brothers on that list because
Yeah, you should.
I've had a blast watching it. It
Yeah,
is so
you
good.
never regret turning it on.
No. And those hour-long episodes, I don't know, they just fly by. Like there's not a lot of wasted time, wasted space. They're always moving, and it's like, oh, first episode you're at training camp, and then boom, here's D-Day. Now you're in Normandy. Like let's freaking go.
Training camp. Boot camp, but whatever.
Okay, whatever. You know what I meant.
Training camp is where football players go.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. All right, let's get into NFL Week 2. Let's start with the Sunday night game. Well, actually, let's start with Monday night because when I made the rundown, this was before the games on Monday night had happened. Really, really fun game between Detroit and Seattle. I don't know how much of that game you caught, but it was very entertaining.
Yeah, I watched about the first half, and then I kind of was reading my book and fell asleep. But I'm a little bit of a bittersweet thing for me there because the Lions won, but at the same time that left only one undefeated team in the NFC. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I just couldn't get past. I couldn't watch I didn't like the jerseys.
we were
Detroit
talking about
jerseys.
that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like you and I both said, there's something off with them, but we can't really pinpoint what it is. But like, I like the helmets. I thought the helmets were kind of cool.
I think the helmet. My thing is, I don't think those helmets go with the rest of the jersey. Like, I like the helmets by themselves, but I didn't like how they went with the black. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah, I almost wish like if you were going, black jersey, black pants, you need to do like a black helmet with either like a blue or a silver, lion logo or something. Kind of similar to what the Ravens wore on Sunday night. But yeah, the jerseys were weird. They were, I don't know. They were odd. Aren't those supposed to be like the Ford Mustang ode? Like that's
I don't think so. I think that was a
No?
one and done thing because the Mustang they had like the lion over the Twin Towers. Remember?
No. I don't remember that at all. Okay. But yeah, really fun game. I think I kind of came out of that game feeling like Detroit and Seattle were pretty equally matched. Like I feel like if they play that game 10 times, it's either 5-5 or 6-4 in favor of one of them. And it just, team had to win by the end of it. And I know Seattle or Detroit was up by 2 scores late. So I'm not trying to be like unfair to Detroit, but I don't know, man. I was wildly impressed with Geno Smith in that game. And it was interesting, the contrast in quarterback play between, Will Levis / Mason Rudolph versus Tyler Huntley. And then 45 minutes later, you tune into Jared Goff, who didn't throw an incompletion, and Geno Smith, who was just throwing laser after laser after laser. And I was like, okay, these feel like 2 different sports being played.
Yeah. I think we saw the bottom of the league and the top of the league last night. I think Seattle's good and Detroit is going to be there too. And man, when are we done? When do we put Mike McDaniels on the hot seat?
Hot seat? Yeah.
When does he get on the hot seat? Because his initial like shine or whatever is kind of wearing off on me, and I'm just kind of like, this guy's kind of a weirdo.
That's a valid question because it's like all the Shanahan guys, they're supposed to be able to adapt to changes in the quarterback, right? Like Matt LaFleur and the Packers, they go 2-0 with Malik Willis. Like Kyle Shanahan has, made a number of different quarterbacks, CJ Beathard, so on and so forth, succeed in his offense. McVay has done the same thing where like Stafford goes out, you get Baker Mayfield for a game, you get, whoever for a game and it works, but that does not seem to be the case down in Miami. And I don't know. I've got Tyreek Hill in like one of my fantasy leagues, and it's like I think I'm going to bench him this next week. Like I don't think I'm going to keep starting him until he kind of proves me otherwise, because it's like 3 straight weeks of single digits and I watched a good, I was flipping back and forth between the 2 games, and any touch that Tyreek Hill had, it was behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And there were 4 defenders around him immediately. Like they could not figure out a way to get him in space. And I think the question about McDaniels is fair by you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're not fun to watch.
No.
And whereas last year they were, and I think if any, I don't think Tua sucks. I used to think, oh, Tua's terrible. McDaniels is a good coach, but I think he's not. I mean, you see what Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley can do with the same offense, and you're just like, oh gosh,
yeah.
Maybe
well,
Tua
and it's
really
like
wasn't all that bad.
I don't know. It's weird because like neither of us think Tua is like this incredible quarterback, but if your entire offense can only be run by Tua, like there's a problem with your offense. Like that if that's all like if you take him out, and I'm not trying to say that Tyler Huntley or Skylar Thompson or whoever are as good as Tua is, but like, okay, case in point, Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson goes down. They bring in Joe Flacco. Those 2 quarterbacks could not be further apart in terms of play style. The offense works. So it's like, it's weird that McDaniel has not figured out a way to at least make this offense like an ounce competent without Tua.
I mean, this probably isn't a thing, but do you think he writes plays based on him being a lefty and he's only looking at one side of the field versus righties? I don't know if that's a thing or not, but it kind of makes sense in my head.
It kind of makes sense in my head too.
That's why you never draft a lefty quarterback. Sorry, Randy.
That was like a glass shattering moment. Like you said that, and then the wheel started to turn my head. Like, oh crap, you might be right. Like,
yeah,
it might be that.
There's more than one reason not to draft a left-handed quarterback.
Yeah, fascinating. Okay, well, maybe that is it. Maybe that is. I don't know.
It's probably not all of it, but it might have something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe it's either that or he's just not adapting the offense at all for a different quarterback, which again I find hard to believe. But it's like they were talking about it on the broadcast. They're like, "Oh man, so much of this offense is timing, like getting the ball out quickly on the first read, like right on time." And it's like, okay, yeah, Tua did that at a very high level, and that was part of the reason why the offense worked. But like, take him out of the equation. Okay, you need to adjust your offense for whoever now is under center, and it doesn't seem like they've done that. And now they've got like Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and all of those guys are now non-factors. And that's just, I have a hard time believing that. I don't know. Yeah, those were kind of my takes from Monday Night Football. I think the NFC is really, really fun this year because you've got Minnesota, you've got Detroit, you got Seattle, you got San Francisco. Like there's a lot of fun teams where I feel like they're all kind of at the same playing field. Whereas in the AFC, it's more so like, okay, is anyone going to beat Mahomes? And you're trying to figure out who that team's going to be.
Now he always does, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he always does in the first 10 weeks of the season. Then they kind of click at the end, but man, they don't look that great.
No, they don't. But I'm not falling for that trap again because I really felt like last year, like, oh, hey, they don't have the receivers like this. Last year was statistically like Mahomes' worst year of his career. And I'm like, okay, you're not supposed to win back-to-back Super Bowls. It's okay to regress a little bit. And then they just won it and won back-to-back Super Bowls. So
no,
not falling for it again. I thought the Sunday night game was, I don't know, really eye-opening. Baltimore just absolutely dominated Buffalo.
NFL doesn't make sense. Move on.
No, no, it doesn't.
I thought there was no way in heck that Baltimore was going to win that game. Like I almost considered picking Buffalo as my survivor team.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and just they got smacked.
I mean, it was over like from the very beginning. It was never
like
a game.
And that makes like zero sense to me.
Yeah. I have some numbers on the Baltimore rushing attack so far this season, just because it feels like it is just in a league of its own. And this was one of the things that like I felt like was a talking point in the offseason. Like, oh, you add Derrick Henry to Lamar Jackson. Like this is going to be impossible to defend as far as our rushing attack. They're one of 4 teams with a team rush success rate of over 50%, which success rate is basically like, hey, on first down, do you get, I think, 40% of the yards to go? Second down, do you get 50% of the yards to go? And then third down, do you convert it? Third and fourth down, do you convert to first down? I should say. They're one of 4 teams with a success rate over 50% as a team, despite having 27 more rush attempts than the next best team that is over 50%. They're second in EPA per rush at plus 0.17. They lead the league in most rushes of 10 plus yards with 25. Green Bay's at second with 21. They are absolutely destroying in the following categories: rushing yards over expectation at plus 252. Second is plus 179. So they've got like a 70-yard gap between them and the next best team. Rushing yards before contact per attempt, they're at 3.33 per attempt. Second is 2.34, so a full yard better. And then rush yards per play, they're at 6.4. Second is 5.7. And then this was a nugget that I thought was interesting. This whole thing is actually my stat of the week. But in terms of rush EPA per attempt, the Ravens have the second, Lamar Jackson, and 5th, Derrick Henry in the NFL. So of all qualified rushers in the NFL, they have the number 2 and the number 5 in rush EPA per attempt. The next best quarterback running back combo is Jaden Daniels, who's first actually, and Brian Robinson, who's 15th. So that's crazy. What we're dealing with. And you look at the game on Sunday night, Derrick Henry, 24 carries, 199 yards and a touchdown, including that long run. Lamar Jackson had 6 carries for 54 yards. Even Justice Hill had 4 carries for 18 yards. Like it just, I don't know. It's a suffocating type of football to play against, because I'm sure the defense just gets exhausted, trying to tackle Derrick Henry time and time again. And if they're finding that sort of success on the ground, like I think they have the best chance. Like I do think it's Baltimore and Buffalo as the 2 teams who at least have a shot at upending the Chiefs come January.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still speechless after that game but like you said,
it felt like Buffalo was helpless.
Baltimore can run the ball, but they can't stop the run. But Buffalo can't stop the run either, and that's not a good.
Yeah,
I don't. I know I'm picking if they face each other in the playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Good gosh, you got to figure that out. It's hard to beat a team twice, but.
Yeah, well, and it's like, I don't know. You think about ways that you could beat, the Chiefs. And if you're just running the ball over and over again, like you're dominating time of possession, you're keeping Mahomes on the sideline and you're wearing down that defense so that the fourth quarter comes and now you've got more things open down the field. And yeah, Baltimore looks really good. I don't know, when they wear those all black uniforms, they just look even good. They look good. They look faster on the TV. I don't know how, like, if that makes sense, but it just seemed like there was extra burst with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in that game. But it was a fun game to watch. Let's talk about your Vikings.
All right, I'll do it.
They win in Lambeau, improved to 4-0. They're now the only undefeated team in the NFC, and them and Kansas City are the 2 undefeated teams left in the entire NFL. Yeah. What do you think? Because I remember you did not think that they were going to win this game. You expected Green Bay to win.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get a Malik Willis game, and I still don't. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel right now because I don't know how to feel. I don't think I can still say that I think they're going to be 9-8 because they have to go. Because I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna win 10, 11 games now. But I've said it every week I've been on this podcast, and I'm going to keep saying it. Like the coaching is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the offense was that great on Sunday. They got up to like a 28-0 lead or 28-7. And I think at that point when they were up by 3-4 scores, the O'Connell and Flores just kind of pocketed their big plays and just kind of ran the
They
clock
took their
out
foot
on
off the
them.
gas. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely took the foot off their gas. And Detroit. Sorry, I'm looking at Detroit helmets on my computer. Green Bay kind of got back into the game. I was never like worried because I don't know. I haven't been worried at all this year. They've only been trailing for like 3 minutes all season long. And when Detroit got back within a score, and then Sam Darnold got back on the field, and they went down and got a field goal. So it's just one of those things where they're like playing with their food, and whenever they want to turn it on, they can do it, and it doesn't make any sense to me because I've never really been a part of something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like, man, Jordan Love's coming back. It's in Lambeau, but the defense, I felt like just they'd suffocated them from the very beginning. And like, I know we were just talking about like they let their foot off the gas like later on after it was 28-0, but to get to 28-0, like Green Bay couldn't breathe on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I was playing Jordan Love in fantasy, and at the end of the game, I looked up and he had 35 points. I was like, what? I guess he had like 400 some passing yards, and that must have all came in the second half.
He had a touching tribute to Brett Favre. He had 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Like hadn't been done by a Green Bay Packer since
and
Brett Favre.
I see what Rosie was saying. Was it Rosie that says he throws off his back foot every time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. I don't understand how that's going to be sustainable, but we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Like the coaching, I forget who posed the questions, so I can't give them credit, but I saw someone pose a question like coaching duo. Where does Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores rank in the NFL in terms of just coaching duo? Like
that's one.
It might be.
Like name another coaching duo. I can't.
Like, I mean,
the Minnesota Vikings are the best coached team in the entire NFL. Like they have average players, and they are getting absolutely everything out of all their players.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, think of this Minnesota defense. Like you obviously can name a lot of them because you're a Vikings fan, but
I can't though. That's the great thing about like, that's what just proves that they're playing as a team instead of like individual. Because each team has like Sauce Gardner or whatever. And
Pat Surtain,
Surtain,
Micah Parsons.
Big name defensive players. The Vikings have Harrison Smith, a guy named Van Ginkel, just like Jonathan Greenard, and it's just they're not big names, but they're playing so cohesively, and it's working.
Yeah,
and teams are now looking at Brian Flores like, do we want to make you a head coach because you're really good? But also you're suing the NFL, so that might not be good for us.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, and it's like so stats on the Minnesota defense, opposing EPA per play, the 3rd best in the league, passing yards per play, they're 10th, rushing yards per play, they're 4th, and opposing points per game, they're 5th. And I'd be curious for really all 3 of those stats, where they would rank if you just took out the garbage time against Green Bay. Like in terms of
Oh yeah,
you know,
I saw a set that they're like 32nd in the league in pass defense or something,
yeah.
like
I
yards
mean,
allowed, and that's just because the second half of Green Bay.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing that's I think is always interesting is, and I think Green Bay is one of those teams where you can look at it, but look at the defense and look at points allowed versus yards allowed. And
Yeah.
for teams where there's a huge disparity, it's situations like this where like they get up by a large amount and then they let Jordan Love throw for 400 yards, but it doesn't end up, mattering in the end,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happened. I think Brian Flores has kind of been feasting on inexperienced quarterbacks, good quarterbacks, but they've never really had
I mean,
an experience. And like they get Aaron
he did it
Rodgers
against
this
Kyle
weekend.
Shanahan, Brock Purdy, and he did it
Yeah.
against CJ Stroud.
And they're great quarterbacks, but like they haven't played a defense like that. And like Purdy did last year and lost,
Yeah.
but that defense was terrible. The Viking defense last year was garbage. They're better this year, but last year, holy smokes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they get to go to London this weekend. 9
Yeah.
a.m. football on Sunday, baby.
Well, and this is the thing that because you started off by saying, I don't think I can say they're going to go 9-8 anymore. Like mathematically, I think you're right, because this is the hard part of excuse me. This is a hard part of their schedule.
Yeah.
Like 49ers, Texans, Packers, and like they have the Jets coming up, and like who knows what to think of the Jets right now. And then the Lions after that, which will be a hard game. But then after the Lions, you've got the injury-ridden Rams, you've got the Colts, you got the Jaguars, who haven't won a game in like almost a year, the Titans, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bears. Like, I don't know. They're 4-0, and they've played. I think if you looked at their schedule going into the season, you would have said that the Niners and Texans were two of the hardest games they were going to play.
I would agree. Yeah.
And they're 4-0. Doesn't make any sense.
I know.
Yeah. Sam Darnold's first in passer rating at 118.9. He's sixth in EPA per dropback. He's third in completion percentage over expectation. And he has 3 more passing touchdowns than Baker Mayfield, who's second. It's 11 versus 8. I don't know, man. I don't think anyone expected this from the Vikings. You were higher on the Vikings than the rest of us, but I don't think you expected them to be 4-0 and one of the only undefeated teams left.
I did not expect them to be 4-0. I was thinking they could get to 2-2 in this stretch.
Yeah.
I was saying if they're 2-2, that's a pretty good 4 games there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else on the Vikings?
Not for this week, no.
Okay. Let's hit the other undefeated team. So the Chiefs are 4-0. They lose Rashee Rice. Apparently, maybe he doesn't have a torn ACL. I was seeing some reports today that it may not be season ending, which, like, Rashee Rice must have like the most plot armor of any NFL player. Yeah. If he has survived a suspension and then it looks like his knee gets blown out and they're like, oh, actually he's fine. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't know, man. These injuries I think are starting to pile up. I know they lost Pacheco for like 8 weeks basically. And now potentially Rashee Rice. I know there's a lot of talk that they're going to go and trade for a receiver now because they kind of need to. But I'm kind of in wait and see.
Nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Well, he's to be seen. He's just seen, at like the U.S. Open and concerts, and
he's enjoying life, man. You can't knock him for it, but
no,
it is annoying. As if you're a Chiefs fan, I'd be annoyed.
Yeah,
but homie's enjoying life. Good for him.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I'm just kind of in wait and see mode with the Chiefs. Like,
yeah, me too.
It feels like they haven't played a good game all year, and they're 4-0.
They're frauds, I tell you.
They're frauds. You heard it here first. All right. I wrote down on the rundown here just Joe Flacco, nothing else.
Right.
Just because it's
Grandpa
just amazing.
Coming in, save the day.
Yeah. Did you see his quote they asked him, it was like something about Anthony Richardson, like if Anthony Richardson thinks Joe Flacco's cool or whatever, and Joe Flacco was like, guys, I'm like 8 days older than his mom. He definitely does not think I'm cool.
Yeah, I did see that. I think it was 8 days younger than his mom.
Or 8 days younger,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't understand, man. That's that Flacco against Tomlin gets him every time.
Yeah.
Kryptonite.
Is it weird to say, like, from like a fantasy perspective, if you've got Michael Pittman or Josh Downs or like any of the pass catchers, you feel better about Joe Flacco than Anthony Richardson moving forward?
Um,
Because it
I don't
seemed
know if
like Flacco
yeah.
came in and just started completing passes left and right. And like
Yeah.
Josh Downs had like 12 targets. Michael Pittman, I think, had like the most. I want to say he tied like a career high for receiving yards in a game. Like it was just everyone was eating. And it's because they had a guy who could complete more than 50% of his passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, you have an argument.
Yeah, and we don't know the extent of the Richardson injury. I think they said he's day to day, so we'll see what his status is for
They'll
week 5.
probably sit him until Flacco sucks again.
Yeah, they might.
That
I
would be
could see
my
that.
guess.
I want to talk the Jags because obviously Texans have the comeback. They win the game. Jags are now I think the only winless team left in the NFL. And they haven't won a game because they lost 6 straight to end the year last year. They haven't won a game in legit like almost a full calendar year at this point. It's been like 11 months.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to, like, we can talk about Trevor Lawrence, like, get your thoughts on what's going on with Trevor Lawrence, but it feels like right now, and I'm going to try to pull it up, like there are a lot of teams that have recently given a quarterback a huge contract that now, whether they would admit it or not, are having like a bit of hangover regret. Like they're waking up, they're checking their credit card app, and they're like, wait, I spent what? Where? Like what? And it feels like there's more of that now, maybe just because it's the quarterbacks. But like I'm looking at just total value on these contracts, okay? Or actually, let's do average. Let's do AAV. Okay, Dak Prescott's number 1. He just signed. Joe Burrow is tied with Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love at $55 million a year. Then you've got Tua
so far.
Yeah. Then you have Tua at $53 million a year. You have Jared Goff at $53 million a year. Justin Herbert, you feel fine about at 52. Lamar, you feel good at 52. Jalen Hurts, you're at 51. Kyler Murray, you're at 46. Deshaun Watson, you're at 46. Daniel Jones, you're at 40. I don't know, man. Like you think let's count out the teams. So the Jags, the Dolphins, the Eagles, the Browns, and the Giants. Those 5 teams, like, are any of those 5 teams, if they were able to just undo that decision, are any of them saying, no, we're good?
I don't know, man. I don't feel good if I'm them, but then again, my quarterback's only making like $7 million. So I actually think it's like 12 or 13.
10. 1 year, $10 million. He's making $2.5 million less than Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
Cook Quessy, let Quessy cook.
Yeah, it just, I don't know.
I wouldn't want any of those quarterbacks. I think Trevor would be okay on Minnesota. I don't know that the Jags have the best team.
I think
You
Trevor
know?
Lawrence would be. I mean, honestly, I think every one of these quarterbacks would be better in Minnesota because
Well,
they'd
yeah,
have Kevin O'Connell. But
yeah,
I just feel like if Trevor Lawrence was not the number one overall pick, and if he wasn't being referred to as the best quarterback prospect that we'd seen since Andrew Luck, would you, me, anyone else still be giving him the benefit of the doubt? Because it's like, what have we seen to give him the benefit of the doubt other than just his pedigree? You know?
yeah. I don't know. Can't answer that for you.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it feels like the NFL is kind of getting a little bit of NBA syndrome where like these NBA teams, they have their high draft pick. And even if they don't feel great about that high draft pick, they're like, oh, well, we have to give him the max. Like he's a year away from his deal. Here's the rookie max contract. And it's
Yeah.
like, why'd you have to do that? And it feels like we're doing that now with quarterbacks where it's like, oh, well, you have to sign Trevor Lawrence. It's like, you do? You have to give him $60 million a year? Really? I don't know. It's weird. Like EPA per dropback right now, he's 27th among quarterbacks. He's ahead of Caleb Williams, Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson, Bo Nix, Will Levis, and Bryce Young, and that's it.
That's a good list. I want to be on that one.
Well, did you see that quote from Kevin O'Connell this week? About
Which one?
The one about like organizations fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail organizations.
Yeah, it was something like it's like organizations fail quarterbacks way before a quarterback fails an organization or something like that.
Yeah.
And bingo, bango, bongo.
Yeah.
And like I think that's just I don't know. I think they were talking about Bryce Young or something. Or he asked a question about Bryce Young. And I think that was his response. But yeah, Bryce Young for sure. I don't know if I'm there on Trevor yet. But
I mean, but we've seen so many like reclamation projects in recent memory. Like Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, like even Jared Goff gets shipped out to Detroit. Like now, I don't think the Rams regret that because they get Stafford and they win a Super Bowl. But like you've seen a lot of these guys go to, their second or third stop and they put it together. And it's like, oh, wait, maybe Sam Darnold just had to deal with Adam Gase to start his career.
Yeah.
And
right.
No wonder he didn't succeed.
Yeah. Everyone liked Sam except the Jets, according to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So.
And like Justin Fields, not good in Chicago, flames out in Chicago. He's in Pittsburgh, and like this is kind of the best that he's looked in terms of just like overall quarterback, like talent, like completing more passes. He's moving the ball downfield. He's making smart decisions. And it's like, yeah. There's a reason why Jaden Daniels, and some of it is talent, right? But there's a reason why Jaden Daniels is leading the NFL in EPA per dropback. He overtook Josh Allen this week. He's now number 1. And Caleb Williams is 28th.
I'm looking at team stats right now, passing stats. And Washington's completion percentage is 82%. That's absurd. That's absurd. Yeah. And you want to know who's passed the ball the least? Well, you could probably guess it. Bottom 5 passers in the league.
In terms of just pass attempts?
Pass attempts, yep.
Tennessee?
No.
Baltimore? And
no.
The Colts.
Colts are 3rd.
Okay. Patriots?
No, they're in the top 10 though.
Okay.
Chargers are number 1.
Oh, Chargers. Okay, that makes sense.
With Harbaugh.
That makes sense.
And then the Saints actually are number 2.
Yeah, they didn't have to throw it like at all against Dallas. They just
Colts,
ran all over them.
Colts 3. Buffalo Bills 4th. And the
Interesting.
Minnesota Vikings have thrown the 5th fewest passes this year.
Huh.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, man. Jaden Daniels. Can we talk about him a little bit? Because
Yeah. You want me to get my Kool-Aid out or no?
get your Kool-Aid out. Go for it.
I'll get my Kool-Aid out. I poured out my glass. I didn't take a sip of the New Orleans Saints Kool-Aid. I had it sitting on the counter. I
Yeah.
was looking at it. I think I kind of poured the glass out. I think they are just 10-7.
I've got some stats on them too that we can get to later on. but-
Washington, man. I don't ever remember a Washington team being this electric. Like the few games Robert Griffin was great.
That's the only thing I can think
Yeah.
of is like Robert
Yeah.
Griffin and Alfred Morris. I just remember a few like Sunday night games where they were just unstoppable.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But I mean, they're fun. They're super fun. Jaden Daniels, like I just said, he's got the best completion percentage in the league,
82%.
82%.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
that's
also
not true.
he's second.
Stephon Diggs has 100%, whatever. But yeah, Jaden, he's got 82% completion percent. He only got 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Whatever. He's got a 108 passer rating. Throws a first down 42% of the time. And yeah, like those are like godly rookie numbers. Those are godly numbers, let alone rookie. Just
Trent, they went 2
And
straight
I was
games
so-
without punting.
I was so out on Jaden Daniels at the draft. But I guess I'm back in.
Well, and the thing about it is like it doesn't look fluky. Like you
Yeah.
watch the flow of the game and it's not like he is first read. If it's not there, he takes off and runs. Like he is comfortable in the pocket. He goes through his progressions. His pocket presence, it's different, but in a way it feels similar to like what we saw from CJ Stroud last year, where you were just watching him and you're like, he's not supposed to be this comfortable.
Yeah.
Like he's not supposed to make every single right decision, but he is. Oh, but he also runs like a 4.5 40 on top of that.
It's got me questioning Kyler, to be honest with you.
In terms of
the coaching, same coach, Kingsbury calling plays, and Kyler couldn't get it done. And then Jaden Daniels, the guy that looks like a twig, comes in and just lights up the league. So,
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's interesting.
Well, and it's kind of funny, like how much we play the results, right? Because, I mean, I said this on the podcast when we were previewing the NFC North, and this was a common sentiment. Like Caleb Williams stepping into the best situation, like a number 1 overall pick has had. Like, look at that defense, look at the weapons, like look at all that. And then like the thing going on with Jaden is like, oh well, they're not going to be able to protect him. Like Kingsbury's not a good play caller. The defense is in shambles, which the latter part I think might still be true.
Yeah.
But now you're like, oh well, Jaden's in a much better situation than Caleb. Look at the success he's having. It's like, well,
I never thought the Bears situation was as good as people were saying. I just want to be on the record for that because I've thought the Bears are crap. They don't have an offensive line. So hard to play in the NFL without an offensive line, especially in the division they're in. All the Bears aren't going to win a single NFC North game. Not one.
Well, and I don't know. Washington, like it's appointment setting TV at this point. It's so fun to watch. Like these games are exciting. Terry McLaurin, I feel like, is on cloud 9 right now because he has a quarterback who's throwing him the football. Brian Robinson looks great. Like there's just a lot to like about this team. And it's led by Jaden Daniels, who is incredible. Just absolutely incredible. One note on him, and then I have a Kool-Aid question for you. So leads the league in completion percentage by 10 percentage points. Like he's at 82%. Geno Smith is at 72%. He's also, and so is Derek Carr. Completion percentage like over expected, he is second behind Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is at plus 8.9%, and Jaden Daniels is at plus 8.7. Sam Darnold is third at plus 5.7.
What
So
is that? Is that above expected?
Yeah,
Is
so
that
it's
a
like,
receiver stat? Like, does that just mean his receivers can catch everything? Or
well, it's like it like takes into account like all different factors, like how tight window the throw is, situation. Is he getting pressured when he throws it? Like all those different things. And it's like, okay, based on all of these different factors and all the throws you made, here's how many you should have completed.
yeah.
And so he's completing almost 9% more, and he's at 82%. Like that's the crazy thing. It's not like he's just doing a bunch of dink and dunk things. Like he is moving the ball downfield. Like I don't know, man. I think back to that throw against Cincinnati when they were winning, and he's getting hit and just throws that perfect ball in the end zone, back corner to McLaurin. Just
It's
rookies
accurate,
don't
dude.
make that throw.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Other week 2 stuff. Bucks just absolutely whooped up on Philly. Just kind of continued the whooping from the playoffs. And I'm looking at this Philly team. I think I am now, I think, confident in saying that Washington is the team to beat in the NFC East. Like if I'm picking a team to win that division right now, I'm picking Washington.
That's cheating. They're winning. It's not going to be the Giants. And it's not going to be the Eagles.
It's not going to be the Cowboys.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not out on the Cowboys yet.
What?
They're only a game back, dude.
Yeah, and they just lost DeMarcus Lawrence for 8 weeks and Micah Parsons for 6. And it was already the worst run defense in the NFL.
I don't know, man.
Cowboys are not a good football team.
They're not.
They
You're right.
barely beat the Giants.
All right.
I don't know. This feels weird that I'm the one trying to convince you the Cowboys aren't good. This doesn't feel right.
Man, New Orleans is third in their division after just coming out guns ablaze in the first 2 weeks. They're only a game above Carolina.
Well, the New Orleans thing is interesting because it's truly been like Jekyll and Hyde for them.
Yep.
Like Derek Carr, weeks 1 and 2 was first in EPA per play. Weeks 3 and 4, 18th. And you look at like some of the things that they were doing well that was leading to their success. You look at their play action percentages. Week 1, 36%. Week 2, 59%. Week 3, 27%. And then week 4, 14%.
Yeah.
Like it, I don't know. I think we were a little too quick to crown the Saints, or at least I was, because I thought it was legit.
You don't. Yeah, and I said, like, I'm on record. Like, you don't score 90 points on accident.
Yeah.
Apparently, you do.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah, you mentioned that they're only a game up on the Panthers. They have a 110 point differential between them and the Panthers.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like they're at plus 57.
Do they have the
Panthers are at
best?
minus 56.
I think the Vikings are 57 too.
They're tied with the Vikings for the best point differential in the NFL. One team's 4-0, one team's 2-2.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a race between Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson for first coach fired. And it might be Peterson if they lose to the Colts this week. And if they somehow beat the Colts, then I think it might be Sirianni.
Yeah.
I don't
know. What's that guy in Cincinnati? What's his leash like? Is it Taylor or something?
What are they now? Are they 2-2?
They're 1-3.
1-3. Yeah, but that division is still winnable. Like Pittsburgh's 3-1, Baltimore's 2-2. I don't know.
Well,
Plus, the rest of the AFC is a mess.
oh
Like,
my gosh, there's some bad teams in the AFC.
yeah, like, yeah, it's gross. It is gross. All right. Anything else from week 2? We can talk briefly about, some upcoming games from the week 5 slate, but to me, I am enjoying the NFC games more than the AFC because it feels like there's more parity
Yeah,
and
there's better football teams in the NFC.
there's better football teams.
Like we were just talking about point differential. The NFC North, every single team has a positive point differential.
Wow. That is pretty nuts.
Yeah,
Huh.
they're combined 11-4. The NFC North division to beat, just like we all anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, I think the NFC is more fun right now, and I don't know, man. I'm thinking about that Detroit Seattle game last night, and it just felt like did you see that run by David Montgomery, where
Yeah,
trucks the first gosh, this is such a fun game. I'm gonna be thinking about that game for a while. All right, I think I ran through all my week 2 notes, all the different stats that I pulled. Yeah, best games of week 5. So obviously Jets and Vikings are playing in London. Do you have any expectations for that game, or is it?
yeah,
just,
they're
hey,
gonna
it's
win. They never lose in London.
Really?
Vikings have never lost a game in London or in Europe.
How many games have they played over there?
They've played 3 games in London.
Okay, that's a decent sample size.
I think 2 in Germany. And they're 5-0
Okay.
or something like that. I know I'm right about the London. I don't know about the Germany part. Because
they're going to win
the Saints, the Browns, and maybe the Saints again. Maybe they've played the Saints twice over there. I don't know. But I know they're 3-0. I know they're 3-0 in London. And they don't lose. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't beaten them in 672 days or something. But who's counting?
Yeah. You're not, clearly.
I'm definitely clearly not counting.
But I feel like you've softened on Aaron Rodgers since he left Green Bay.
I like him.
Okay.
I don't know. He is a little bit of a diva.
Oh yeah.
Like his whole press conference this weekend. Like or we could hold him accountable thing. That just seemed like it. Shut up, dude. Get off the stage.
Yeah, like you guys scored 9 points.
Yeah.
Let's settle down.
I understand you're frustrated, but throwing your teammates under the bus, that's just gonna piss them off more.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily he doesn't have a history of pissing off his teammates. So that shouldn't be a problem. That game should be a fun one. Bills at Texans. I think that's probably the marquee game. Bills seeing how they can rebound from getting whooped by Baltimore, and then the Texans, CJ Stroud, like they have the comeback win. What are the Texans now? What's their record?
3-1, I believe.
2-1. Wait,
3.
That's not right. 3-1. Okay, that makes sense. So that should be a fun game. Both teams are 3-1.
Tampa gets Atlanta on Thursday. I'll actually watch that game. I don't normally watch Thursday Night Football because I don't know, but Tampa Atlanta I'll turn it on for Kirk.
Yeah, that'll be.
And then you get Dallas Pittsburgh Sunday night, baby. The battle of the 90s has-beens.
Yeah. I heard they're going to air that game on History Channel.
Yeah. I think Pittsburgh has had some relatively recent success, but
what have they won 3 Super Bowls since the Cowboys' last Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Is that right?
Probably, yeah.
Because Roethlisberger won 3, didn't he? Or is it just 2? Hold on. Oh, he just won 2. Okay, it's 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, I'm expecting Dallas to lose that game. Let me hold on. Is Dallas favored? No, Pittsburgh's favored. Okay. I was going to say if Mike Tomlin was an underdog at home, then that was going to be my bet this week because he's like crazy good as a home dog, but they're actually favored by 2.5 at home. Yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to lose, and I won't be upset about that because I didn't think they were going to be very good this year anyways. So I'm just kind of, yeah. And then, yeah, Monday night, Saints at Chiefs. We'll see what Saints team we get and what the Chiefs look like without Rashee Rice. I don't know. We'll see. I think that's all I got. You got any closing thoughts? Anything you want to get off your chest?
I got nothing. No magic words.
Nothing. All right. Do you have your dad joke book?
I don't. I have no idea where it went.
Okay.
My kid figured out how to open drawers, and that's the end of me knowing where everything is.
How's that been?
I cleaned the house last weekend, and it's already messy.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right. All right. Okay. The nurse hands a man his newborn and says, "I'm sorry, but your wife didn't make it." He responds, "Well, then give me the one my wife made."
That's a good mix of dark and dad. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for this week's episode of Making the Call. We will be back next Tuesday night. We'll see if we can get some of the other guys on. Austin said he'll be on next week, but I will believe it when I see it. And we'll be back recapping all the action from week 5. We'll try to get Austin's thoughts on the college football slate. Did you watch any of the Bama Georgia game?
No.
From Saturday?
No.
Did you see the highlight of the Williams kid?
The
touchdown?
guy that went spinny turny topsy, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did see
Nutty.
that play.
Nutty. And have you been following, just real quick, the running back for Boise State, Alshon Jeanty?
I am aware of him. I wouldn't say I've been following him, but I'm aware.
Have you seen his stats?
No.
Okay.
I know they're crazy.
I'm glad I get to get your initial reaction to this. So played 4 games, right?
Yep.
He's got 845 rushing yards.
Okay.
That's an 82 rush attempt. So he's averaging over 10 yards per rush attempt. Okay. And he has 13 touchdowns.
Okay.
In 4 games.
Got the sliders on or what?
Yeah. One of those games was against Oregon too. He's crazy.
Yeah.
When does he come out? Oh, he's a junior, so he could come out in this year's draft. Okay. There's your number 1 overall pick in Dynasty. Alshon Jeanty.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it for this week's episode. We'll be back next week with more reactions to NFL Week 5. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your week, and we will see you next time.
Adios.